Hey everyone, my name's Walter and I'm back here with more stories from Reddit. I actually haven't covered this sub in a while and I should do it more often, but we're back with Reddit Am I the Asshole, the place where you can tell a story about your life and ask who was wrong. Let's just begin with stories from Reddit Am I the Asshole. I saw this one and felt like I had to cover it. Am I the asshole for hiding my boyfriend's anime body pillow while my parents were visiting? My boyfriend, male 32, and I, female 27, have been together for a year. He's only met my parents once over the holidays last year because they live pretty far away. They've been visiting this past week, and since he and I just moved in together, they were excited to see our new place and get to know my boyfriend a little more. We have an extra bedroom, and this has become my boyfriend's gaming room for the most part, but we agreed when guests come over it would be a second bedroom. He really likes video games and anime in particular, so he has a lot of toys and artwork that he's collected over the years from different games and such. One thing he has is this anime body pillow that features a sexy anime girl on it. He also has a mouse pad for his gaming computer that resembles a busty anime girl. Before my parents came over, I asked him to take down his toys and stuff so they would be comfortable. I was upset to see that he left the body pillow and the mouse pad in place. I don't really feel comfortable with either item, but he's really into anime, so I've always kind of left it alone. But I absolutely didn't think it was appropriate to leave it there when my parents would be staying over. I took the cover off the body pillow and put the pillow in the closet, and I put the mouse pad in a drawer in our room. When my parents arrived and we showed them to their room, my boyfriend noticed the missing pillow and mouse pad. Later, when we were in bed, he brought it up to me and asked why I hid them. I told him I didn't think my parents would feel comfortable with those things in the bedroom, and when they leave we can put them back. My boyfriend got really upset. He told me that he feels like I'm ashamed of his interest in anime. He said he spent his whole life feeling like people think he's weird for being into anime, and he didn't expect his own girlfriend to be just like everyone else. The next day I noticed him taking some of his manga books off our bookshelf and putting them in a box. I asked him why, and he said something like, "I'm putting them away so you don't have to look at them anymore." I feel really bad. I feel like I hurt him, but I just really don't think my parents would feel comfortable sleeping in a room with those items. But now he's acting so distant and cold, and he's not really engaging with my parents at all. They keep asking me what's wrong, and I don't know what to say. He's pulling a tipster. In case anyone missed it, Tipster was getting dragged over on Twitter, as usual, for defending Vosh this time, so he decided to make a video of himself performatively throwing out all of his anime, just to make sure there's no underage girls in it apparently. And it was all normie shit, like I better throw out my Dragon Ball Z DVDs just in case. Anyway, this guy's also acting like a baby. I think you're supposed to be at least a little inconvenienced when your in-laws come to visit. He's lucky they're not just assholes. We see plenty of that on this sub. There's a huge difference between anime/video game decorations and sexualized anime content. A busty mouse pad and a sexy body pillow would most definitely make anyone feel uncomfortable. I get that it's his space too, but I think a small amount of compromise for a limited time isn't a problem at all. He might see it as you being embarrassed of his interests, but the reality is, most people aren't comfortable with sexualized decor. It's not about anime at all. Not the asshole. He really needs to have more consideration for others. Add to that the bit where he accuses her of being ashamed of him and goes out of his way to get his anime stuff out of her sight. Is this gaslighting? This is a manipulative move, meant to do nothing other than make her feel guilty, and it has worked. And to top it all off, he's pouting like a 10-year-old. I'm not sure if it would be considered gaslighting, but it is definitely manipulation, alongside just being downright weird. It's not like she asked him to get rid of anything or made fun of him for liking it. She just made the valid point that her parents would probably be uncomfortable. She even says that the whole room is anime themed/decorated. Nothing else in there had to be hidden or moved, it was just the sexual stuff. Obviously, if him liking anime was the issue here, she would have made a bigger deal out of it. Yeah, it really reminds me of the tipster crap. Well, guess what? There's an update. Edit. Thank you for all the responses. And sorry it took me a few days to update. I was waiting for my parents to leave so I could talk to my boyfriend about all of this. I read through the comments and it kind of validated something I already was feeling. Sexual decor aside, the way he acted the next day when he was putting the books away really bothered me. I ended up explaining the situation to my parents, and they weren't exactly thrilled by his reaction either. I got the feeling after this trip that they don't really approve of him, which is neither here nor there. I'm 27 and I'm old enough to make my own choices. But above everything else, my parents mean a lot to me. I never get to see them, and it was important to me that my boyfriend would be present and treat them well while they were here. After they left, I drove them to the airport. Boyfriend refused to come. I came back from the airport and found a couple trash bags outside the door. Turns out that once I left, my boyfriend started throwing all of his anime things into these bags. I asked why, and he said something along the same lines as before, that clearly his interests weren't welcome in my home, and he'd keep them in his car until he figured out what to do with them. I kinda snapped. I'd been keeping it together all week for my parents, but I had enough at this point. I told him I never asked him to get rid of his anime stuff, just that it wasn't appropriate for my parents while they were staying with us. I told him that this reaction is unfair, and he's being manipulative. I told him that this week was supposed to be about him getting to know my parents, but he was too fixated on this anime issue to even spend any real time with them. He then called me manipulative for making him believe that I was cool with his love of anime for the past year when I was clearly ashamed of it. He also said he didn't want to be part of a family that doesn't appreciate anime. We went back and forth for a while, and then I told him we needed space. I wasn't even really planning that, but it came out and it felt like the right thing for me. Well, he then started crying a lot and apologizing and immediately tried to take back what he said, but I was just done at this point. He left eventually, and now I'm here in this apartment alone. Well, and the mouse pad and body pillow, lol. He left those behind. Anyway, I don't really know if we're broken up officially or what, but it seems to be heading that way. I'm just feeling awful, and I almost wish all this happened before my parents visited, because I feel like it tainted the whole trip. But yeah, thanks for the replies, guys, and for helping me open my eyes a bit. I'm a big anime nerd, and never once wanted to buy a waifu pillow. My wife would definitely give me such a side eye if that appeared in our house, and deservedly so. OP partner thinks people look down on anime fans because they like cartoons. No, it's because of behavior like having booby mouse pads and weird Lolita-esque body pillows. He's being obtuse. You've always been supportive and don't have negative feels about the pillow or the mouse pad, but you're uneducated and older parents will. And that's not even uncommon. Lots of people would be uninformed and think a body pillow of a hot girl is a sex toy. You don't need your parents even incorrectly thinking about your boyfriend masturbating to cartoons. Yeah, that's the other thing here. A lot of people might see an anime body pillow and think that the person must be like Thad McMichael. It appears that's it for now for this story. The account has only ever done one thing and left one reply. We've got another story though. Am I the asshole for telling my friend that I'm sorry her parents don't love her as much as mine love me? I, 22 female, have a friend named Amy, 22 female, who I met in college. Currently we are in our last semester of college. I live alone, but she shares her apartment with 2 other people. We never really spoke about our finances much, but I know that both of our parents currently pay our rent. The issue started when we talked about our future plans. I told her that I'm probably going to get a job and do my master's at the same time, so that I can save up a little, but also to finally have my own money to spend on some things that I love, and to travel. She laughed at me and asked me what kind of salary I expect while working part-time to be able to afford all that. I shrugged and said I didn't have any expenses that I'd need to cover really, just food and that's it. She looked shocked and asked about rent and stuff, and I said my parents will be paying for it. She then went on a rant about becoming an adult, how she can't wait to be independent, how she doesn't want to take money from her parents, and stuff like that. For the most part, I tried to nod my head and listen to her, but then she said something like, "I'd feel like a bad daughter if I were you." And that really made me feel embarrassed. Yeah, that's a shitty thing to say to someone. I mean, good for her if she wants to be independent, but a lot of people don't get their rent paid until they're 22 either. So who is she to be talking about it? I went and joined the army when I was 19 personally. My parents want to pay for my apartment. They can easily afford it, and I'm not the type of person to be ungrateful for it. I spend a lot of time with them. I know they don't lack money for anything. They travel, own their house, have a good retirement plan. They don't mind paying for me, and I don't mind taking it. We have a good relationship. I know this won't be forever, and I don't expect it to be. Just a few years until I finish my degree and get a higher paying job. I got annoyed and told her to drop it. We can talk about something else. But she continued talking about her parents want her to be a real adult. How I'll never want to be ambitious unless I struggle and just more and more nonsense. Not sure how important it is, but between the 2 of us, my grades are significantly better, and I'm a few exams ahead of her in terms of passing this semester. I just cut her off and said, well, I don't know, maybe my parents love me more than yours love you, so they want to pay. I'm sorry for that. Can we now talk about something else? We didn't talk since then, and I do feel bad because I know that love has nothing to do with money, and looking back, it's such a rude thing to say. but I just said it to shut her up because she was insulting me and calling me spoiled for no reason. I wasn't even the one to start this conversation, nor did I probe into her finances. She was the one who kept it going. Ever since that day, I feel a pit in my stomach, and I really didn't want to insult her. Info/edit. Just adding some stuff because I feel like it may be relevant. I feel like Amy's intention wasn't genuine because she currently accepts her parents paying rent, food, utilities, everything. So do I. The conversation was about after college. I mentioned my academic success because she said I will never be ambitious when I try really hard. We also don't live in the USA, and parent support isn't so uncommon. And lastly, while this may not convince people, I really do appreciate my parents and everything they do for me. I don't plan to leech off them, and this is something they know, and that's what matters to me. Hey, we have a story where it isn't 100% obvious. The friend did start it, and I definitely also would have insulted her back in some way. The specific thing she said was pretty stupid, yeah, but what do you expect when you keep badgering someone? And it still just blows my mind that being fully supported until you're 22 is fine, but anywhere past that, that's just too much. Anyway, this is an everyone sucks here situation, but I do feel like I would have done something similar. Everyone sucks here. Life ain't fair. I grew up poor and went to a college with a lot of rich kids. It was so frustrating to see all these kids who basically had a bottomless credit card and no debt. I was jealous, of course. Anyone who says they aren't is lying. But it's an asshole mode to gripe and complain. It's not the rich kids' fault their parents are rich. But fast forward, now I'm financially set, and I stress out a lot about my overprivileged rich kids. Every now, other kids will make comments to them about our house or whatever, and I try to teach them humility. I also make it clear that none of this is because of them. They're passengers on a luxury train out of pure dumb luck. They all do well in school and sports, partly because of genetics, but also because of opportunities. This is a lesson you should learn. All you had to say was, "Hey, I understand. I'm lucky." If the person persists, be firm, but not an asshole. Seriously, this makes me uncomfortable. I really don't want to focus on that. Then if they continue, we have a different story. But let's be clear. The money someone's parents give them has nothing to do with how much they love them. The tale of human history is wealthy people thinking they're somehow better than people without money. You need to go read Privilege on a Plate. Oh, the author did say this. I don't really believe that money equals love. As I said, my relationship with my parents is amazing. They're supportive, we spend a lot of time together. The comment was said in a more sarcastic tone. I felt like I had to defend myself from all the insults. I understand it was a childish comment. I will be apologizing, but probably won't be mending the friendship after that. There's actually a lot of people here saying not the asshole as well, so let's look at that a little bit, because I don't necessarily disagree. Not the asshole. I am incredibly tired of seeing people labeled as assholes or saying something rude to shut down an unpleasant and unending asshole. Being rude doesn't intrinsically make you an asshole. Sometimes it is the only thing that works. You are both in the boat of having no charges. For you, this will continue for a few years, and for her, it won't. All of her arguments are ridiculous, since she is currently an adult and not living independently. She ridiculed you incessantly and refused to drop the matter, so you said something you know to be untrue and hurtful in an effort to end the conversation. That isn't asshole behavior in my opinion. It is the only option you had available. Be sure to let me know what you think if you have a strong opinion on the matter. And she does bring up not being American here for a reason. There is a big drive here for a lot of people to kick out their kids at 18 and make them find their own way. I'm not exactly here to complain about things, but I feel like food and rent have doubled in my lifetime. So it's sometimes possible now with an entry-level job. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I'll be reading them while the video's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I kept losing subscribers after the last Russell video, so that sucks. And big thanks finally to my amazing patrons who help by supporting me more directly over on Patreon. I'll shout them out in the next Nice Guy video, which I already started on yesterday. Have a great day, everyone, and make sure you hide the body pillows before you have any normies over.